So in June, I posted a video talking about my burnout. In that same exact video, I said that I was going through my biggest losing streak, 16 to be exact, with 4 break-evens in the middle. But at the end of the day, it was 16 losses in a row without a winner. That was my biggest losing streak so far. It was a tough time, but there were great lessons that I took from this losing streak. I know that some people came especially to hear about my funded account with my Forex funds, which if you want to check them out, there's a link in the description with 5% off, and you also have a link for FTMO if you guys want to check any prop firm out. Let's get into the lessons that I learned from my biggest losing streak. I want to start with this one to leave a quick message, which is if you are being very affected by the market, it is okay to take a break and recharge. Stop listening to what the hustle culture is telling you and take a break. It's really fine. Now, use that break to maybe reassess whatever you are doing in trading. Is there anything you can improve on? Is it your psychology? Is it your strategy? Is it your strike rate that is not aligned with your psychology? What is it? And work on that. The mind leaves clues. If you are getting tired, and this is something that I said on the video about the burnout, so check it out after this video if you want to. If you don't take a break, the mind and the body will take the break for themselves. And this is where you as a person are going to be affected. So take a break once in a while. That's a big lesson that I learned. But on to the next one. It's not the strategy, it's you. It's very funny for me to hear people commenting about how trash a community is, how trash a trading strategy is, but the only thing that tells you is that that person was not profitable with that strategy. And not that the strategy is unprofitable. I seriously do believe that any strategy can be profitable if you know how to apply it. 95% of the times, and I would maybe bump it up to 99%, it's the trader's fault. The problem is that these people that are trying to say that the strategy is trash, community is trash, whatever it is, they're just trying to find a way to not blame themselves. That's it. And it's such a weak mentality. And if that is you, really take a hard look in the mirror and you'll see who is making life very hard for yourself. Stop blaming the strategy, stop blaming the market, manipulation, whatever it is, just stop blaming that. Because most traders would be profitable if they had a set of rules that they would always follow. And that's the problem. That's where discipline comes in. If you do not follow a set of rules every single time, you are always playing with a new set of probabilities. But things are not this simple. Trading is not just black or white. For most of us, emotions also play a role in this game. Maybe you miss a trade, then you start revenge trading. Then because of that, you get a losing streak and you take another trade that it wasn't there, revenge trade, and that's the whole cycle. You miss a winning trade, whatever it is, it can make you emotional, while it shouldn't. But again, it's not that easy. Most of the secret sauce that you are looking for in a secret YouTube video, in a masterclass, whatever it is, about trading, is as simple of an advice as be disciplined and stick to a plan. If you do that, most probably you are going to be profitable. If you do that, if you have a set of rules and you are disciplined to sticking with them, you are most probably going to be profitable. During this whole time, I didn't blame the strategy once because I knew that these were emotional mistakes. And this is where ASR also comes in and etc. And keep in mind that with a 30% strike rate, there is still a possibility of you taking 18 losses in a row while still sticking to the plan. But if you are able to, during that losing streak, be like, okay, was in the plan, was in the plan, was in the plan, was in the plan, then there's no problem. While I was going through this losing streak, I knew that these were trades where my mind was just already so foggy that I couldn't think and I was forcing stuff and well, it was what it was. It is what it is. But yeah, don't blame the strategy, blame yourself. That's how you are going to grow. If you blame the strategy, the pressure is off of you. You just, well, it's the strategy's fault. I'll try a new one, whatever. And you're never going to take accountability. Take accountability, stick to a set of rules, and you'll be profitable. On to the next one. The market will humble you. This is something so crucial. And I think that most people, 95% of people watching this, are going to go through this. The market will humble you. And why? Because you start winning, you start feeling like a god, you start thinking that you've cracked the code, you start thinking that you overcame the matrix of the market, and whatever direction you pick is where the market is going to go. So afterwards, You stop doing the forecast, you stop doing the backtest, you stop doing the ASR, whatever it is. You stop doing what got you there in the first place to being profitable. And once you stop doing that, the market will show you how truly random it is. And that's when the losing streak will come. Because if in one trade you're entering on a fair value gap, support and resistance, whatever it is, if you're constantly changing the set of probabilities. So there's always a new randomness to the market every different trade that you take. So this goes back to the point. Stick to a plan and be disciplined to that plan. And the only way to avoid this ego boost is by listening to this last point, which is also very important. Wins have positives and negatives, losers too. If you don't balance your emotions when you win, your emotions are also not going to be balanced when you lose. Wins have some positives and negatives, and some people ask, okay, so what are the negatives? So here are a few. You get complacent, it boosts up your ego, you start becoming outcome driven, you start looking at the money, you start projecting onto the market, you start feeling invincible, and again, you become more outcome driven than process driven. You stop doing what got you there in the first place after you get this ego boost by the market, after you get a win. And once again, I want to shout out Pat for giving the idea of wins and losses having positives and negatives and then balancing themselves out. Because if you are very happy with the win, what's going to happen is that you are going to become very sad with a loss. And that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid these swings that you have in your emotions when you are trading. You want the wins and losses feel the exact same, so there's no contrast. Now, losses have positives too. Here are a few. They keep you accountable and keep you working. They keep up your drive. They make you reflect on what you might have done wrong, which will then affect your trading plan in the future to avoid maybe some future losses of mistakes that you were making. It makes you go back to the drawing board. It makes you be more attentive to the market, which will possibly give you your biggest breakthrough so far. And all these positives about the losses was something that I actually really put into my mind, and I took action towards it. I learned from my losses. I saw what I did wrong. I saw what was wrong with my psychology, and I took the actionable steps to avoid it in the future. And at the end of the day, there are just numbers on the screen and lessons to be taken. Once I came back refreshed, I almost had one of my best days in the market so far. I've been very in tune, very in the flow with the market, and more productive, happier, balanced because I took these lessons from the market and from my mind too. And also because of a 2-week break. Now, onto the update on my funded account. And no, I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but I did not lose my funded account. I was lucky for the fact that I was only risking 0.1% in the beginning of June. And I actually started the month off with a 10R, so I finished the month at -6R. And July until now has been a slower month. I've had a total of 9 trades so far with a current return of 3.3R with a couple of missed trades. Just yesterday, I missed one just because I didn't execute, which would have resulted in an extra 8.5R, but that's perfectly fine. I'm now risking 0.2% on my funded account, and the account is still on a little bit of drawdown. This is perfectly fine for 2 different reasons. One, I'm perfectly happy and comfortable with the strategy that I'm currently using and my ability to execute it and get consistent returns. That's the first one. I know that this account, if I stay disciplined, is not going anywhere. And the other one is the fact that even if it goes, there's absolutely no risk. I've had my profit splits, I've had my refund, I've had basically my 112% refund plus the payouts from the challenge and from the verification. So as I said in a video talking about from my Forex funds, almost a 200% refund on my challenge. So there's really no risk. It's just free money now. And again, if you want these type of conditions, check the link in the description where I have a code for my Forex funds. And I will soon start risking 0.3% per trade all the way up to 0.5, which will happen maybe in September or October. I hope this helps, and I hope this shines some light into the darker days of trading, and it might help you in the future. Love you all. Peace.